Does our universe exist inside of a black hole? What happens if you put an alien gray in a tanning bed? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life! Hello everyone and welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the comedy paranormal podcast where every week we investigate a brand new paranormal tale, case, claim, or beast and come to a conclusion at the end to decide whether or not it truly is paranormal. My name is Rory, this guy's name is Kit, and let me tell you, I have one hell of a story for you today on the podcast.
Really? Okay. Can I take a guess?
You can take a guess.
Climate change. Is it paranormal? We hear a lot about carbon emissions, cars, planes, that being the problem. I think wizards. Let's find them, put them in cages. End this today.
Right. I think that's just a general good rule to live by. If wizards are in this world, we should probably put them in a cage.
Right. Wait, let's just put them in a cage first, then figure out whether there's any correlation. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can imagine you put them in the cage and they were like, no, we're the ones stopping the bad things from happening.
Shut up. He'd take his wand, snap it in half.
No, unfortunately, today we are not investigating wizards. We have a listener submission that was sent in by Stephanie McCallum, Pedro Flores, and Jody Rewa.
Okay, shout out Jody Rewa, longtime fan.
Some of those suggestions came in several years ago.
Yeah, okay.
This is a case that has been requested a bunch of times. I don't know why. It's always flown under our radar. Well, I have a slight idea as to why.
Because you don't read emails?
That, yes, partially. But also, look, I'm going to be real with you, Kit, before we get going here. I'm a little bit worried you might not take today's case seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might not know why yet, but our listeners to the podcast, they've seen the title.
Oh,
They have a little insight as
right.
to what this episode is about today.
Yeah.
So I just want to say to you and to the listeners, watch it. Actually, maybe watch it. You're on thin ice already. Because I spent a lot of time and a lot of work. Don't even look at me. No, don't even look at me.
I haven't done anything yet.
Thin ice. Yes.
This is coming from the guy who starts playing mental games of Flappy Bird whenever I mention the word ghost. Whenever I mention a paranormal thing, he's like, I'm out. He starts mentally playing Crossy Road.
Look, I just want to make sure that we all are prepared to take this seriously today. I put a lot of work into this. This is a case that affected people's lives. And I want us to treat it with respect and dignity.
All right.
Okay.
You get nothing but the utmost from me.
Because we're about to find out, Kid, that a paranormal encounter in the small city of Eagle River ruined a man's life forever. It's time to dive into today's episode. And a reminder, you can get every episode of this podcast ad-free over on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Check it out. Our story today kicks off on April 18th, 1961, in the small city of Eagle River in Wisconsin. It was a crisp Wisconsin morning, and 54-year-old plumber Joe Simonton was doing the dishes, trying his best to keep the house tidy while his wife was away working in Chicago. Luckily, it was a small house, resting in a forest clearing a couple miles out of the city, and Joe wasn't planning on having guests over anytime soon. But that all changed at 11 a.m. when Joe heard something that sounded like the screech of car wheels as it skidded around a bend. He peered out the window and couldn't believe what he was seeing. Some kind of shiny metal object was lowering itself down towards the earth like an elevator. Joe thought part of the roof of his house had blown off, but it couldn't be, because whatever this thing was, it was glowing. Without hesitation, Joe ran out into his yard to investigate. When he reached the light, Joe watched in awe as a silvery craft brighter than chrome descended from the sky. It was shaped like two plates or bowls, one inverted over the top of the other. It was about 30 feet in diameter, and Joe said that the craft never touched the ground. It appeared to hover, suspended perfectly in space.
Well, in the air. He's not in space, hopefully.
Sorry, yeah, in the space it was occupying. Which I think is weird and scary because sometimes when we hear about objects coming down, there is jet fuel melting the grass. there's three little legs that come out as a tripod and rest it. There's something more terrifying, weirdly, about an object kind of just floating down and just being there.
Yeah.
And not moving at all. No wind, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's also pernicious. It's kind of scary, ominous, because I think if we've learned anything about UFOs, crafts over the years, it's that we don't know how they operate, but they do operate in one way, shape, or form. It might be floating there silently. Your brain is currently being cooked by gamma radiation, because it has to work somehow.
Yeah,
it doesn't work on love. I wish it did.
Yeah,
but I think if we've seen anything, they don't come in peace. They don't come in love. The ship doesn't run on vibes.
Yeah. You're gonna be like, wow, this is wild. I'm gonna call my wife. You go down to lean in your pocket. You touch bone.
You're a skeleton.
Your skeleton hand touched your skeleton hip. There's nothing left of you. You're like, oh shit. It cooks me so fast, I'm still kind of alive.
You go to walk, you rattle around like a set of maracas. You're like...
You go to laugh. For some reason, it sounds like this. You're a skeleton now. Unfortunately for Joe, his encounter was only getting started. Because believe it or not, the ship opened up. Joe said he watched a hatch open on the side of the craft like the trunk of your car. And in the darkness, he spotted a strange figure. All right, get ready for one of the weirder descriptions of an alien that you've ever heard on this podcast.
All right. We've been doing this a long time. I can't imagine anything will faze me going forward.
Joe described the person, already saying it's a person, as looking dark-skinned, quote, like an Italian. His face. Don't interrupt.
So still white. so still a very dark skin.
So much to go for.
Like a Albanian guy. It's still white. Still white.
Still a guy too? His face was completely hairless, and Joe couldn't see if he had hair on his head due to the fact he was wearing a cap.
What? He's a Yankees 47 cap? I've never seen a new era like that before, so a new era.
This strange figure in the hatch was about 5 feet tall.
Like an Italian.
Joe slowly approached the craft, trying to look at whatever this creature was, but he said that its eyes were so penetrating, he had to look away.
Wow.
Once by the craft, the figure slowly raised his arms, carrying some kind of metallic bowl with 2 handles on the side. The creature tipped its head backwards, repeatedly, as if imitating gulping down water. So Joe ran inside with the metal container and filled it with water from the sink.
He was that close to the thing?
Yes, he's right by it now.
Jesus.
When Joe returned to the hovering craft, he said that he avoided looking the saucer man in the face until he got real up close. Then, as he handed over the water, he gazed upwards into his eyes. Joe said, quote, he had a penetrating look in his eyes. It almost felt like he could read my mind. Well, now that he was closer, Joe could peer inside of the dark hatch, where he spotted 2 more identical beings inside. All 3 were dressed in what he described as one-piece tunics, with no buttons or zippers, and a hood that stretched up over the head. The one at the front, who had requested the water, had a white stripe running down one leg of his tunic, which Joe assumed could have been an indication of a higher rank. This sounds like a silly assumption to make, but it made me start to think about our own military, and we kind of do the same thing on Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that guy is more important than you because look how many buttons he has. He has all these shiny buttons on his front.
Little badges, yeah.
Or a couple little patches on his arm.
Yeah. And I've not been in the military, but I have played Halo 3.
Sure.
Or Call of Duty. And so, Jesus, even in the video game world, you really had to work for the stripe. You work your ass off gunning down the Covenant day in, day out, and then after 13 weeks, they're like, here's another little stripe. And I assume in the military, you have to do that for like 10 years to get a stripe.
Probably, yeah. I don't think we're built for it. Kid had PTSD from his time
right.
fighting in the Spartan Wars.
I've had to have experimental MDMA therapy for how much Halo 3 I played.
There should be more industries, I think, that reward you with buttons if you do well.
Because it's kind of just Boy Scouts and the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should do patches at our company.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you uploaded 5 episodes in a row on time. You get your timeliness patch.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't get that. 2 were late this week. But, maybe Phil could have
the
one.
button away. Yeah.
I'm dishonorably discharged from the podcast.
Phil has a jacket editor. Phil has a jacket, and it's just 35 toilet cleaning badges. Phil, you're doing such an amazing job cleaning the toilet here in the office. I'm joking.
There must be more badges.
We don't make Phil clean the toilet.
No, absolutely not.
I like this idea. Yeah, if I go to Chipotle and if I am ordering a burrito, I want to see that my burrito artist is a high-ranking burrito officer. I need to see at least 4 purple hearts in the burrito wars.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, can they really be trusted with such an important task? I'm not sure.
Because we've all been there. Whenever you put in an order for a burrito and you've kind of loaded that thing, they're starting to look at you sideways when you're like, more sweet corn, please. And then you ever had that where it gets to the point where where they start trying to roll it and then they have to bring in their manager.
The big dog.
Yeah. They're like, yo, Josh, get over here.
We got a 214.
I have on at least 3 occasions ordered a burrito so large it's taken 3 staff members to wrap it.
Right. They all grab an end.
Yeah, they grab an end. It's like trying to pack a tent back into a tent bag.
Oh, impossible.
Almost impossible.
Yeah. I guess the only bad thing with badges is like if you get them just based off of what you're doing. So it's like, I don't want to get the liar badge, the con man badge, the thief badge. I'm like, stop putting these on me. Like, I know I do it, but you don't have to tell people.
Rory's a sergeant in gaslighting.
I leave work to go on holiday and come back with a premature ejaculation badge. Oh, don't look at that.
I pat you on the back. I'm like, lucky for some, it's the erectile dysfunction badge. Like, brother, I wish I had one of those badges.
I would kill for a dishonorable discharge.
Dishonorable discharge is crazy.
Goes hard. Joe said that the other 2 saucer men in the craft seemed to be chained or belted to what they were doing. One of them was preoccupied at some kind of control panel with flashing lights, and the other one was cooking.
Really?
I can assure you, Kit, this story is not going where you think it is.
I don't have any conception of where it's going. You don't know where I think it's going.
Joe said that one of the saucermen was working away at a square grill, like a counter.
For sure. You gotta eat on the job.
They were cooking up some kind of meal. Joe could see the smoke and feel the heat all the way from the hatch. When interviewed, Joe said, "I was interested in them, so I made a gesture like eating. I figured I'd get a conversation going because nobody was saying anything."
So let me get this straight. Barbecuing, backwards baseball caps, sunburnt and thirsty, they're Australian. They're not from space.
They're from down under. He went on to say, "The man in the hatch noted my interest, walked over to the grill, scooped some of the food up and gave it to me. They looked like pancakes."
Oh shit, intergalactic IHOP.
Once the saucerman had handed over the space pancakes. A great sentence right there. He raised his right hand to his head and quickly withdrew it. Joe said, "I figured this was some kind of salute, so I gave him my salute back. What else am I gonna do?"
What, he did like an American military
I think so. Then, without warning, the hatch slammed shut, so flush against the ship's exterior that Joe said you couldn't even see there had ever been a hatch.
Yeah, big mistake. An American salute means you bitch on their planet.
The ship quickly began to rise, retreating upwards around 20 feet before tipping slightly on its side and blasting off into the sky.
Whoa.
Joe said the force from the launch was enough to bend a 9-inch thick pine tree at a right angle. And just like that, the ship was gone. Now, I know this sounds like a tall tale, but Kit, don't just take it from me. I have a clip right now from an interview with Joe retelling this
Show
encounter.
us the pancakes. What did he put on them? Sugar, lemon juice, kind of French. Or are we talking Nutella? Are we talking more American? Bacon and maple syrup? I don't know.
Good combo.
And with that, the thing started to raise, just like it came down. Everything was timed perfect. It went up about 20 feet. It tilted at 45 degrees, straight south, and shot off. And within 2 or 3 seconds, it was out of sight. Well, there I stood in the driveway with a handful of greasy pancakes and my mouth open, wondering what the heck I saw, what had happened.
Great little soundbite right there.
I said, slap my ass and call me Sally. I had some greasy pancakes and a hole in the head with some missing memories.
I mean, if that had just happened to you and you're just standing there holding pancakes from space in your driveway, you'd just be like, what the was that about?
Yeah.
You'd just be over so quick. And all of a sudden, you're just in your driveway with pancakes.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's one of those experiences. Do you ever like watch a scary movie right before bed? And then you're like, I need a palate cleanser. I'm going to hop on youtube.com and watch unusual memes. Shout out unusual videos YouTube account. I'm going to watch something to take my mind off the monsters under the bed. I think in this moment, I'd be going, I need a palate cleanser. I need a cup of tea and something to just take the edge off.
Maybe that's why they do it. They're like, look, we just freaked this dude out. At least give him some pancakes. And they're trying their best to make like earth pancakes, but this thing is moving. This thing is glowing. You're like, I don't think we're supposed to eat these. Enjoy the pancakes, human.
So you guys eat pancakes too? Yes. We discovered them 3,000 years ago. Don't you guys know they're the secret to eternal life?
There's something funny about an alien trying to calm down a human after an encounter, but they don't really know what's considered normal.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's like, when we know this is going to be a little bit scary, having met us, so here's some pancakes, and we brought your son back from the dead. It's like, what? Bye-bye. Like, where is he, though? Michael!
Zombie son, yeah. Reanimated.
Michael!
I like the idea that they love pancakes, and he's like, "What? Why are you here? Why are you here on Earth?" They're like, "We had to come here, the home of IHOP, the intergalactic house of pancakes."
The intergalactic house of pancakes. That's great. Look, Joe might not be holding extraterrestrial technology or an ancient alien artifact, but these space pancakes were proof of Joe's encounter. Proof that life exists on other planets and they also eat breakfast. And I gotta say, what Joe did next was truly an act of pure bravery. He ate the pancakes.
No, but this is our evidence. This is the only evidence, the only proof.
He literally ate the evidence.
Oh my God. What? Dude, what year was this?
1961.
This is 1961. He could take a photo. I know we always say this, we sound like broken records, but we had cameras readily available, commercial cameras. Everyone had a camera.
Hey, all I said was that he ate the pancakes. I didn't say he ate all the pancakes.
Okay.
Because I think he was served a fat stack.
Right.
He got that Waffle House special. He probably got some eggs and hash browns on the side.
In fairness, all I can come up with is take the photo. I don't know who else you're going to bring the pancakes to. I don't know if we could send them off for chemical analysis.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
But if anything, eating the pancakes is by far the most dangerous thing you could do.
So dangerous. For that to be your instinct is insane.
This is like whenever I was a child.
Yeah.
I remember a distinct memory of being a tiny child walking through my house and being thirsty and then going, oh, nice. There's a bottle of water sitting on the kitchen table. I grabbed the bottle of water, screwed off the top, lifted it, raised it to my lips, and about 4 adults in the room jumped and yanked it out of my hand, slapped it out across the room. And they were like, oh shit, that wasn't water. Our house was being painted, and the painter had, sometimes painters will fill up old water bottles with white spirit.
Terrible. What a stupid idea.
For cleaning paintbrushes. I almost died.
Yeah.
Basically, by drinking bleach. maybe this could be the same thing. That it is, just because it looks like pancakes, don't eat it. Maybe this is, maybe he raised it to its mouth. They're like, no, this is like purified plutonium from our planet. Put that into a warp drive. And you can use intergalactic power. That's enough purified radioactive material to fuel your planet for years. He ate it with maple syrup.
They like hand it over to him and then they like go to give him something else, turn away. And they're like, so yeah, that's basically enough energy to power the planet for the next, what are you doing? He's like, he's got it on a little plate, just shoveling it into his mouth. These pancakes are weird, man. Then it's like, just go back up, close the hatch. They're not ready for us yet. And this guy's about to turn into Godzilla. So we need to leave this planet. Joe's instinct just kicked in. What can I say? I do respect it.
It did come off a grill. In fairness.
Yeah, he made an eating gesture. They gave him the pancakes. When interviewed, Joe said the pancakes were hot and greasy. When asked about the taste, he replied, if that's their food, God help them.
But he still ate them. He didn't
To be clear,
it
he
wasn't
ate them.
like, oh, I took one bite and spat it out immediately. It was disgusting.
He said it tasted like a piece of cardboard.
He's like, I had to wash it down with juice, yeah.
Also, I love he's like, if that was their food, God help them. So you don't even know if it was their food? Well, as I said, the good news is, like most trips to the Waffle House, Joe didn't finish all of his pancakes. In fact, for as long as he lived, he kept at least one of them in a case. And Kit, I know what you want, and I have it.
Let's see it.
Do you want to see pictures of the pancakes?
Of course.
Okay, here they are.
Whoa! What the Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, the sunglasses are going to have to come off for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This is pancake utter misnomer. I mean, I think those aliens might have been using the green egg grill for the first time, because if this was a pancake, they have toasted it to oblivion.
It's pretty burnt.
It's burnt to all shit. There are angles at which this looks like a shitty burnt pancake.
Yeah.
But I will say its appearance is more like that, potentially, of a crisp.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. This thing is porous. It is full of holes.
Yeah, those
And
are
dense.
kind of little holes. This is, okay, what does this look like?
If you have tripodecaphobia, I think is the name of the thing, you might not genuinely want to look at this. It kind of looks like coral reef.
Yeah.
That kind of weird texture to it. But it looks very thin. I think even Joe says if you hold it to the light, you can almost see through it. Like a thin cracker. Now, as I said, Joe only ate some of the pancakes. So in order to try and get to the bottom of what he just consumed, he handed them off to a man named Judge Carter, a local man with an interest in UFOs. Carter then sent a pancake to UFO investigator Major Donald Keyhole at the National Investigation Committee on Area Phenomena, also known as the NICAP, also pronounced as kneecap, not to be confused with the popular Irish rap group Kneecap.
Okay. The director of the research institute, Mowgli Bap, said he had never seen anything like it.
Yeah, their official response was, some fella in the woods is sending us crackers from space.
They determined that the object he had seen in the night was a HOOD, hovering overhead omniscient droid.
In a series of letters between Carter and the NICAP, the organization revealed quite bluntly that they were not taking this case seriously. By the time they'd received the pancake, local news had already turned Joe and his UFO story into a laughingstock, meaning the organization wanted to distance themselves from the pancakes. But that's not the only organization that got wind of Joe's story, because this extraterrestrial breakfast also came to the attention of Northwestern University astronomer Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Woo! Let's go, baby! Ring the alarm! That's right, scientific advisor and legend behind the government's Project Blue Book. There was like a 20 to 30 year period where this guy was everywhere.
Yeah.
You'd have to assume he was part of some sort of cloning program and there were 300 Dr. J. Allen Hyneks.
Yeah, he was very prolific. For anyone who doesn't know, kind of one of the first guys to be funded, I mean, through a variety of organizations, but essentially through the government, government funding, to explore the world of UFOs, aerial phenomena, and just jot it down. And as part of Project Blue Book, he studied pretty much every major case through the 20th century. And it was during a time where there was probably slightly more openness about this. He was a known figure, a prominent figure in that world. And then it became controversial because as over time, the government probably became more cagey, quiet, and secret about all of these stories and projects. J. Allen Hynek still had a platform, and he was able to say, hey, I'm basically being told to explain away everything that's happening, everything I see. I'm being told to say it wasn't really a paranormal event.
Yeah, he was essentially the real-life Mulder from X-Files, a government agent who was specifically tasked with investigating the paranormal and seemingly given just an infinite budget to kind of do or go wherever he wanted. Just like this case, Hynek was asked to get to Eagle River ASAP and find out what was going on before the story spread any further. So he did. Hynek and 2 colleagues flew out to Eagle River to meet with Joe and see his pancakes. They went to the farm, took pictures, and examined the pine tree that had been affected by the UFO's departure.
But the pine tree is real? I thought that was like I was like, that's a weird metaphor. That's a weird example. Okay, he actually had a tree.
Yeah, there was a tree that was affected. I think the pine tree, when they investigated it, in the article, they're like, we took a bunch of notes because there was a bunch of damage and destroyed branches. And then Joe came over and was like, oh no, that was caused by a snowmobile crash. Later, they had dinner in town where Hynek interviewed Joe about his experience. And in a memo written for Project Blue Book, Hynek said, people passed the table frequently, and he was greeted as though he were a very respected member of the community. I excused myself and went into the bar to strike up a conversation with the people there. And both in that encounter and in many other casual conversations, it appeared that the town by and large believed him. Joe stated that he was sure I wouldn't believe him and his story, but he didn't care whether he was believed. He simply stated, this is what happened, and that was that. He was also warned that the Air Force would attempt to hush him up, and if he gave the Air Force any material evidence, he would never get it back. A lot to unpack there in that conversation. First off, this guy has my dream job. He's getting paid to just fly out to talk to people who have had UFO encounters.
He's getting paid to stand at a bar. That's sick, bro.
I genuinely think this is really cool. That this isn't like a story. This is an entry in like an official government document where he's like, there's something very romantic about it.
Yeah.
Where it's like detective goes to the small town. It's like, I'm gonna go to the bar, talk to the locals.
Ask around.
Yeah. So you're like out for dinner, talking about UFOs, and go up to the bar and be like, hey, have you heard this story about the pancakes? It's pretty crazy, huh? You got like a wire up your shirt, you're getting evidence.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's definitely a different era, definitely a completely different way of doing things. Not at all how they would conduct this kind of operation today.
No, not at all. The romance is gone, unfortunately.
I will say, we have seen in other episodes we've done on modern UFO investigations, the Air Force does do this. The Air Force has definitely acquired UFO evidence over the years from people. We did see quite a funny report being either leaked or released through Freedom of Information.
Yeah.
Where the Air Force was like, yeah, this guy was asking for like $1 million to buy this scrap of a UFO. Anyway, we bought it, and it's not from a UFO. I was like, you bought it? Is this what you guys are doing?
Yeah.
People are just saying, like, I've got a piece of a UFO, and they're like,
shit.
They're like, we actually have to buy it.
I do remember this.
We need it.
We were laughing about how stupid it is for them to go, look, guys, UFOs don't exist.
Yeah.
So you obviously don't have a piece of a UFO. We will buy it, though. $1 million, whatever
we'll pay whatever you want. Yeah, shit's true.
It's like, okay, well, now I really think that there is such thing as a UFO because you're spending a lot of money on it.
And we've covered, tons of stories like this. Stories where an object crashes onto like a ranch and the government turns up the next day and is like, we're going to pay you $100,000 and you can't come back to your ranch for 6 months.
Yeah.
And we're going to do tests. There's weird stories out there, man.
Real weird stories. And listen, if they're willing to pay $1 million for a scrap of a UFO, how much are they going to pay for alien breakfast?
Yeah, all right.
All right.
I forgot what we're talking about.
Remember the pancakes? Yeah, don't forget about the pancakes. I had to drop in Project Blue Book, Dr. J. Allen Hynek to like win Kit over, get him back on side. But don't forget what we're talking about today is pancakes from space. Hot, greasy space flaps. All right?
Oh, don't call it that. My God. Jesus.
Listen. Listen here.
I really like the idea of J. Allen Hynek turning up to town and he's like, Joe, I thought we could talk through a bunch of stuff. What do you say we meet tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m.? We could meet at the local coffee house. And Joe's like, that won't be necessary. That won't be necessary. I've got a better idea in mind. He's like, we can't eat the pancakes. We're having a breakfast meeting. We're going to eat the pancakes together and see if it makes us levitate. He's like, no, just some simple questions.
Yeah, Joe's like, all right, Dr. Hynek, you can take me out for dinner, but I think you'll find breakfast is on me. We're not eating the pancakes. You have already eaten too many of them. There's so few left.
You know, they're kind of yucky to begin with, but you get used to it. And then you start craving them. Suddenly you can't stop thinking about them.
Yeah, I like to think he has to keep catching himself. He's just like, I could send them to the Air Force, or maybe I could send... He looks down, he's got a knife and fork in his hand. Whoa! Jesus! He looks down, he's eating another one. I can't stop.
J. Allen Hynek and Joe are sitting in a meeting with the Air Force. The Air Force is like, so we've agreed a negotiation of, sure, $1 million per pancake, totaling $4 million. Joe raises his hands. That's going to be $3 million, I think. What? What happened? I had one of them yesterday morning. Jesus Christ, man. Like, okay, fine. $3 million. You know what? Let's just call it 2. Let's call it 2 because I'm getting hungry.
Or maybe Joe's got the wrong idea here. He could kind of hold them ransom and send a video to the military where it's like,
I have in my possession 4 alien pancakes. If I don't receive $1 million by tomorrow, I'll eat another pancake.
There you go.
Mr. President, I think he's serious. He has crumbs around his mouth. We think he's prepared to do anything.
Mr. President, our intel tells us that he is in possession of maple syrup. We need to act immediately.
Intelligence suggests that Joe has skipped lunch and is preparing to eat one of them this evening, sir, if we do not act quickly.
Sir, we're getting reports of a rumbly-tumbly. Mother of God, it's happening sooner than we expected.
The man is borderline Winnie the Pooh. He's smacking his lips, talking about having a tasty smackerel of pancake and honey.
The president is like, all right, I want you to call up every service that we have. Domino's, Burger King, Pizza Hut. I want anything at that man's house to deter the consumption of those pancakes.
They hit DEFCON 5. They basically have to just strap him up like Hannibal Lecter in the movies. He's got a muzzle over his mouth.
Well, as I said, Joe was warned if he gave the Air Force any material evidence, he would never get it back. And unfortunately, that's what happened. The pancakes were sent around to a number of organizations. The NICAP, the Aeronautical Division of the Air Force Systems Command, and other individual Air Force members. In one archive video I could find on the case, there's a clip of a man in a military uniform talking about the pancakes, who said,
It's outside of the realm of the Air Force to pass judgment on Mr. Simonton's case. The pancakes were analyzed by the Food and Drug people and found to be pure buckwheat.
Oh, interesting.
yes.
Interesting. Because, okay, we're getting into some deep pancake knowledge here, my friends.
For sure.
Because
I actually don't even really know what goes into pancakes.
because
I think it's like eggs and a little bit of love.
because stay with me here. American style pancakes are made of, sure, sugar, spice, a couple things nice. We're typically talking a normal plain white flour. We're normally talking eggs, milk, these kinds of ingredients. Buckwheat sounds like it bucks the trend, pun intended.
Oh, yeah.
from this original recipe. But actually, if we travel to the north of France region of Europe, then the traditional, we all know of crepes, which are of course made of a similar set of ingredients to American pancakes. But actually in northern France, they typically eat what they call galette, which is a type of pancake made from buckwheat. Are these French aliens?
I actually didn't know you had so much pancake knowledge.
Making pancakes made of buckwheat. I know this because I'm vegan, and it's a fun side effect that you can often eat a galette, a pancake made of buckwheat.
Ah, well, I actually did not know that.
And that would be typically a savory pancake in France. If you wanted to have a nice savory lunch pancake with cheese, eggs, things like that, you might have a buckwheat pancake.
Listen, it also makes sense because, you know, buckwheat is going to be a substitute for what products in a pancake? As you said, probably a lot of the shit that comes from earth animals. Chicken's eggs, cow's milk,
moo,
cow's butter.
Cluck.
You think they have that on Trenton 6?
Right.
No, they don't
what
have
they
it.
Might have is some similar ancestral bioengineered grain similar to buckwheat.
There we go. There we go. I just searched buckwheat in this this kind of huge, wonderful, complex PDF compilation of files, which I can post for viewers to take a look at. It has a bunch of great information here. But it says this is the level of interest people had in this and how seriously this case was taken. Microscopic analysis shows the presence of fat, starch, buckwheat, wheat bran, and soybean hulls. The material appears to be a portion of an ordinary pancake made predominantly of buckwheat. Bacteriological examination and measurement of radioactivity gave results which are consistent with the view that the article in question is an ordinary pancake of terrestrial origin.
So the scientists said the pancake is a pancake. Fire the scientists, all right? So you took $10,000 of government spending to tell me that a pancake is a pancake? We knew that!
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a pancake.
Tell me what star system it's from. That's what I want to know.
Right, you think they're going to serve us a pancake that'll kill us? They're trying to make an Earth pancake.
That's why they were sweating over the grill. They were thirsty as f***. They've been trying to figure out how to make pancakes for like 5 days.
Yeah, homies over there at the hibachi grill, looking at the cookbook, sweating, being like, the f*** is an egg? I don't know what that is.
A grill is also the wrong thing to make pancakes on to begin with. So they were f***ed to begin with. You need like a frying pan.
They're like, mix in the egg, put in the booter. What is booter? We don't have that on our planet.
They've been whipping a French guy for 3 days, trying to get him to make crepes.
Make a pancake.
He's crying, I do not understand.
The best part is, I think this...
Booter!
With a laser whip. You make pancake with booter.
Shit.
All of these organizations, including Kneecap, were spending such a long time examining the pancake that in one letter, Joe and Judge Carter, his associate, had to write to the organization and said, quote, either analyze the pancake or mail it back. I think it was getting a little heated.
Yeah.
Like the alien grill itself, this thing was going to one organization, then kind of like passed around like a hot potato.
Yeah, this is worrying because, you know, this reminds me of when I got my phone stolen in Barcelona when I was like 18.
Right.
Because this is what they do. They make it untraceable because a little kid lifts my phone off of a table in a cafe. He passes it to a guy in a moped who drives it 100 meters to 3 guys who run off into a market like in a movie who pass it to 16 other guys. So it changes hands so many times, it's utterly untraceable.
Yeah, it's just completely gone. And of course, you know that sample is getting a little more pancakey as it gets passed around.
Everyone's taking a nibble, by the way. There's
yeah, you're gonna have a nibble. Dude, the more you read this story, the more you're like, we all laugh at the start, but by the time you get to the end of the story, you're like, well, if there were 4 pancakes, I'm gonna eat at least 1. Like, you are gonna eat it.
Even if it's not the scientists eating it, but they're like, we fed it to a monkey to see what would happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The monkey started levitating like Mewtwo. They were like, shut it down.
Shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
Eventually, the sample that was sent disappeared. I do believe that, and this is the good thing about having 4 pancakes, Joe was smart. Eat one, keep one, send one. And there's still another pancake out there somewhere.
It's like a streetwear reseller, you know, one to rock, one to stock. keep one on ice in case the value goes up.
Well, believe it or not, Kit, even though that sample disappeared, the story doesn't end there. Not long after the day of Joe's encounter, he started to notice strange occurrences at his farm. For example, although he was a plumber, in his spare time, Joe farmed chickens and sold eggs to his clients when he went to work at their houses. However, after this encounter with the saucer people, his chickens began to fall ill. And not long after that day, all 23 mysteriously dropped dead.
Damn.
Pretty weird stuff. But not only that, a further investigation revealed that Joe Simonton wasn't the only person to see a UFO that night. One resident of the area named Savino Borgo reported seeing a strange unidentified object jetting across the sky the exact same day as Joe claims he got his pancakes.
Interesting. Some corroboration of what is happening.
This is what this case was missing, is more witnesses. Another local named Phyllis Lebretsky said that she and her 3 children also saw a UFO that day. Unfortunately, despite the additional sightings of a UFO, the story, to this day, remains a mystery. We're no closer to uncovering what the pancakes were, who were the people that gave Joe the pancakes, or whatever happened to the sample that was sent to these organizations. Now, Joe, unfortunately, has passed away. As you could see from that video, he was a relatively old man, even in 1961. So he has since passed away. I am currently unaware of where the pancakes are.
Presumably he died of natural causes, not because of the pancakes.
I believe so. I think he lived a long and happy life. Maybe he lived to like 156 or something. I don't know what the pancakes do. But if anyone does know where those pancakes are to this day, please get in touch.
Yeah.
Because I think that could be a business expense for sure.
Right.
And we will not be raffling them off because we will be eating the pancake.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, how much is that going to sell for? It's like whenever they auctioned off Steve Jobs' Birkenstocks and they went for like $500,000. It's like, this is a piece of history, guys.
Yeah. So you know there's going to be a steep price on the space pancakes.
Yeah, if you're on eBay and you're competing against someone else to buy one of the pancakes, that's the US Air Force. Like, I know you can't see the username of who you're bidding against.
Yeah.
But like the first letter is U for sure. It's usually like the first letter star 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 star,
Right.
and then the last letter. So I guarantee U star 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 and then an E at the end. US Air Force.
That's what it's going
on
to be.
eBay.
I mean, for what it's worth, like a lot of paranormal encounters, this pretty much only negatively impacted Joe's life while he was alive. He said it cost him a lot of plumbing jobs. And many of his friends didn't believe that he saw anything at all. Hilariously enough, his biggest complaint seemed to be that when retelling the story, he was often referred to as a chicken farmer, when the truth is, he only raised chickens on the side.
It's a minor detail. I will say it's sad that Joe lost plumbing jobs over this experience of his, over his beliefs of the world. I also think it's ridiculous because if you've ever kind of hired workmen to come over to your house to do either plumbing, electrical wiring, anything like that, you'll know that this is by far the most mild thing that many people in the world believe. Like, I'll invite an electrician over to my house to fix something minor, and by the end, he'll be trying to convince me the earth is flat. It's just like he'll be making conversation, and he'll be like, between you and me, brother, I watched a pretty interesting documentary last night. I'm like, let's just keep it to the job at hand. Let's just fix the light in the bathroom. Let's try and do that. And he's like, and the Anunnaki there. And I'm like, I'm barely keeping it concealed. I'm like, I'm not bringing up the fact that I host a paranormal podcast.
Don't tell anyone.
Because he will then unleash the really crazy shit he believes on me.
Yeah, it's always worrying as well when it's like something that kind of relates to the job they're doing.
Right.
Because you're kind of like, you know, it'd be like getting a painter in to like decorate the house. And then halfway through, he like kind of turns to you and he's like, you know, bucket in hand, you know, it's not actually illegal to drink this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But they're like such a good painter, you just have to kind of like let them get away with it. They're like, yeah, fine.
It is genuinely a thing. It's like something about like job. It happens to taxi drivers too. Like you get into a taxi and like it's famous. Like you do like that conversation will be like wilder than any 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast with a conspiracy theorist. Like there's something about people who work on their own most of the time.
Yeah.
They have a lot of time to think about stuff.
Right. Yeah. And then if you're someone who's just around them, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to hear about it. Well, let's talk about our witness today, Joe. Despite his lack of formal education, all of the records say that Joe Simonton was a trustworthy witness. He wasn't a publicity seeker. He was a great member of the community. He had previously no interest in UFOs or aliens or any kind of paranormal encounters. And he really had no reason to make up a story at all, let alone a story so strange that he knows would be so hard to believe. It really doesn't make sense.
No.
You know, I liken it to my own paranormal investigation, my encounter with the Dublin Gorilla Man, which I've said many times on the podcast. You know that I'm telling the truth when I tell this story, because if I was making it up, I would have made up a different story.
A better story.
One that's way more believable, that could come with even a shred of evidence. So for Joe to make up a story that he knows no one is going to believe, and then presumably make these pancakes and say they came from the alien, knowing that under any microscope, people will be able to tell they're normal pancakes. It is a very, very strange series of events.
It is, and yet, Rory, there are still problems. Why do the aliens have baseball caps?
I don't think it was a baseball cap. We like to joke about the caps. I think he referred
said it
to
was a cap.
He said they were wearing tunics that pulled up over their heads. So maybe more like a swim cap, you know, which is still technically a cap.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay. Question 2.
All right.
Why do they have a grill?
For the pancakes, brother! For the pancakes! Aliens gotta eat. Aliens gotta eat up on that ship. You know, you're traveling across the universe for hundreds of thousands of billions of miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna want a snack. You can't just live off of crisps and chocolate, can you? You're gonna want a hot meal.
I'm not on board. Let's just kind of point out there are kind of questions.
Look, I think Joe got visited by some kind of intergalactic Anthony Bourdain who just goes planet to planet trying the local delicacies. He showed up here and they're like, what do you humans like? Pancakes? Here, I cooked them up. I tried. Let's see how good they are.
You know, sometimes when you're traveling through space and time at warp speed, you get hungry. And sometimes you don't get to stop off where you'd like to. Hence why today I'm going to Earth. A planet so depraved it's full of warmongers and vicious, vicious animals called Earthlings, or humans, as I like to call them. And while what they call food is a little more like what me or you would assume would be at the bottom of a toilet bowl, they have impressively invented alcohol. Something I am quite accustomed to. Let's check it out.
There you go. The hatch opens. Look, that's kind of all the evidence that we have for today's case. As I said, the pancakes still exist. Whether or not you believe the actual events happened, the story happened. Look, here's like newspaper clippings from the time of Joe holding his pancake. As you can see, photos of his house, newspaper articles and reports of the encounter. The fact that they got so many government organizations involved, including Project Blue Book and Dr. J. Allen Hynek, it means they were taking this very seriously.
Yeah, this was the early days, I would say, of government investigation into flying saucers. It really all kicked off in about 1947, and through the 50s and 60s, there was this kind of interest and almost naivety about what was possible in the world of UFOs. Anything, including intergalactic pancakes, was being wholeheartedly investigated in the open by the government and Air Force.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've realized today. Look, it's a very silly story. It's a fun title for a podcast, but hopefully you'll agree with me, Kit, where when you examine this thing, there's more than just buckwheat in this story. There's some body to it. There's questions to be asked. There's theories to be had. And I think this is a legitimate paranormal case that is also ready for a conclusion. Kit, what are you thinking today?
Right off the bat, I am not touching these things with a barge pole. I'm not eating them. I am, of course, not. I am trying to preserve them for experimentation. I have learned through many, many cases how rare intergalactic evidence is. So if that's what I think it is, as Joe in this story, there's no way I'm eating them.
Even if you got 4 of them?
I'm giving it a sniff.
Even if you got 4 of them?
I'm giving it a sniff.
You got evidence to spare.
Yeah. No, there's just no good can come from it. What even happens if you eat it and it's like yummy? Like, what was the point?
Yeah.
What was the point? I can eat anything else.
Yeah, because even if it tasted like it was a taste unimaginable to the human senses. There's like tears in your eyes. You see through time itself in that moment with every single bite. After the pancake's gone, when people ask you about it, you're just going to be like, yeah, it was so good.
Indescribably good. And it's like, all right, cool.
It's done.
Yeah. Do you know what else is pretty good when you're hungry? Pop-Tarts. We did say he's 54 years old and his wife was out of town.
Yeah.
This era of time, this guy can't cook. That guy.
Oh, yeah.
54-year-olds even today, men, are not amazing at cooking in general. So this guy probably can't cook a thing. So he's like, I'm starving. I got to eat something.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. Now, do I think the case is real? I do think there's something to it. You know, I think it's interesting what happened. I think he believes something happened.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the phrase, there is no paranormal phenomena without psychological phenomena. I do think something happened to Joe, some experience, some peak experience, some strange experience. But if our decision is, do we think that saucer really landed? I mean, I know it was corroborated that people saw something in the sky, but but that is always tricky. It is always tricky, you know, because whenever a story gets out and other people hear about it, and we are in the midst of a UFO fever of the 50s, coming out the end of that, there always will be false positives, false reports of, you know, oh, Joe saw something. Yeah, I saw something in the sky that night too. I saw a blinking. Yeah, the blinking in the sky for sure. I saw it.
Yeah, people are gonna join on to your stories. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's a lot of the explanations for it are essentially what you would expect. People are like, Joe was alone a lot, so I think he was lonely. Maybe it was a very vivid dream he convinced himself was real. But then the pancakes were real. It's so weird. It's such a weird story.
It is. Okay, let me be blunt. Whenever I say psychological phenomena, I mean like someone like this either had some kind of psychological break that we still don't understand today. But we have to address the fact that mad stories like this have happened a lot over the years. Mad stories that don't make any sense and continue to happen.
But very little manifest in a physical way. Because it'd be one thing if he was like, yeah, I saw them and they gave me this thing and then they took off and it's like, and it was this.
Right,
but then he was like, and then the pancakes disappeared.
Right, but the scientists said the pancakes came from Earth. They said they were terrestrial origin. They were made.
Which is such a funny way to have
Earth.
to refer to a pancake. Is that a terrestrial pancake of Earth origin? Yeah, I'll get those, please. And the scrambled eggs.
Yeah, right. But they're not gluten-free. That's fine. I don't need gluten-free. Yeah. Terrestrial is fine.
And hilarious, again, they had to specify it had the normal level of radiation for a pancake.
Right.
Which I think everything has a certain level of radiation,
Background
right?
radiation,
yeah.
sure.
But this thing wasn't like spiking an EMF reader or a Geiger counter.
Yeah.
It's a no this week from me.
It is.
It's just got to be a no. You know, I think these pancakes still exist, but as we said, even when investigated, there was nothing that indicated these had come from another planet. That's not to say I know what the happened here in this case today, but I just think we don't have enough to say for sure that this is paranormal.
It's so funny that like sometimes when we have this with UFO evidence, we'll be like, okay, so the scientists said it was made of silicone, but maybe they have silicon on their planet too. In this case, it's like, right, do they have milk? Do they have cow's milk on their planet? Maybe, right? But like, maybe not.
Buckwheat, that sounds earthly.
A super specific earth plant.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it's gonna be a no this week. A double no, unfortunately. But once again, thank you to Stephanie, Pedro, and Jody for suggesting that episode. I couldn't believe it. I'm sure there's more people as well that suggested it. I searched the word pancakes in our inbox and got a lot of hits.
Okay.
So thank you if you've suggested that over the years. If you have your own suggestions, please keep them coming, because stories like this, great ones, can remain hidden until we finally discover them. So you can help us. You can aid us in discovering some of these wonderful, weirder, and more obscure paranormal cases. And of course, at the end of the podcast, just a reminder, we are about to be on tour.
About to be on tour across America, Canada, and soon, we keep teasing it, but soon to be announced UK and Ireland. That is coming imminently.
But the American tour has been announced. You can go right now and get your tickets for all of our shows. We're so excited to be back in the US performing all across the country. It's going to be an absolute blast.
It's going to be a zoovie for real, for real.
It really is. So get online, pick up your tickets, and come see this Paranormal Life live. Hang out with your paranormal pals, and maybe even have a space pancake. If we can find it.
Yeah, I would just don't tell immigration that we're packing space pancakes.
Yeah,
might not get in the country.
Because that is, space cakes is like weed.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah, I thought about that. I had a space brownie once in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, that encounter lasted a couple days. Whew. And as always, if you support us over on patreon.com, you can get a ton of cool rewards, one of which is a shout out at the end of the podcast. That's what we're going to do right now. So thank you to Catherine Laws Bates. Catherine, you can go ahead and get rid of that second name, because there's no laws in the commune. You are now Catherine Bates the third.
Oh,
we had two others. They're dead now. So you're the third one into the commune.
Yeah.
So welcome. Remove the law from your name, because things are going to get crazy.
The only law is there's no laws.
Right.
Law 1, there's no laws.
Yes.
Even the guy who wrote that down on a piece of paper and we pinned it up on the wall, we killed him.
Yeah, because there's no laws. You can do whatever you want. Law 2, hand it over.
All right.
All your goods.
Too much.
Right at the door. Catherine.
You're very welcome, Catherine.
But hey, don't worry. You don't need anything, because all food and drink is provided. Drinks, water, food, pancakes, inedible buckwheat pancakes, nutritionally devoid of almost every vitamin.
I'm getting hungry for a buckwheat pancake right now.
All right, we got to wrap up. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine Bates, because there's no laws. And thank you also to Tea Drunk.
Short for too drunk. He was too drunk to even type out his name.
The T-E-A. Tea Drunk.
Oh, tea drunk. Drunk on tea.
Almost like completing your morning checklist. Tea, drunk.
Right.
Pancakes, space.
Hey, I'm right there.
Buckwheat.
I'm right there with you. I had to stop drinking tea because I was getting drunk off the tea. It's too tea addictive. Yeah. Honestly.
Addictive. So, tea drunk. Like, we like tea in the commune, so you're going to fit right in here.
Yeah. It's a really, talk about buckwheat being a mystical intergalactic substance. Tea is the only drink that you drink to wake you up and make you more sleepy and calm.
That's true. That is really true.
People will be like, good morning, time to have a cup of tea to wake me up. Yeah. And then at 10 p.m. at night, they'll be like, hopping into bed, I'll have a nice cup of tea and watch TV.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
What planet is that from?
Well, also interesting because oxygen, H2O, contains the elements of life.
In English, right? Einstein.
Water, it's like composed of
right.
Hydrogen, oxygen.
Yep.
You know, that's why if you find water, you will usually find life.
Yep.
So, doing that math, if there is life out there in the universe, I bet they drink tea. Because all tea is just putting shit in hot water
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
I know, but
it's the simplest
yeah,
thing.
but this is the most American thing you've ever said. That like Americans call tea everything, whereas right here in London town, tea means one thing, mate. It has to be brown, it's full of sugar,
All right, this sounds bad.
and a drop of milk.
Okay. Tea
Right.
drunk, hopefully that's
Right.
what you want, because apparently that's all you're getting.
That's what
Come here.
tea is, son.
No green tea,
Get
no
in, son.
no boba tea.
But
nothing.
green tea is it? Right. I don't want to. Do I have to school everyone? Okay, I've
Black
schooled
tea,
everyone
gone.
about buckwheat.
Chai tea, nope.
No, stay with me. Because green tea, black tea, matcha, and chai tea are basically they're all the same tea. That's a tea plant.
Oh.
And then it's all the other teas are all just like random shit, like peppermint, whatever.
Oh,
But
okay.
but the tea plant is like one type of plant.
Well, hey, maybe we'll investigate an episode of the podcast soon where someone has a cup of alien tea to go with their alien pancakes. I think they call it
Right.
space juice. We established early on in the podcast. But thank you to Tea
I
Drunk.
think that's
Thank you,
ayahuasca.
thank you
Space
to
tea.
everyone who supported us on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show on Patreon, check it out on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. It's the best way to support the show, and you get a bunch of amazing, cool extra rewards, and you can join a wonderful community over there. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday with another paranormal tale.